Well, hello there and good evening. Sri Lanka is through to the Super 12s, and today's discussion is ahead of Sri Lanka versus Ireland taking place tomorrow. And joining me in discussion today, as always, is our cricketing expert, Harun Maujud. Welcome, Harun.
Hi, Rebecca. Good to be back on the
Hi,
show
hi, good
again.
evening. Good to have you
Very good
back.
evening.
And of course, please welcome my co-host, Akhil Masood. Welcome,
Hi,
Akhil.
Rebecca. Thanks. How are you? How are you, Harun?
Good, how are you?
All good, all good. The charm is still
Somehow
on, I
Firstly,
busy.
suppose,
how's
huh? Charm is still working.
so, oh, right. Mambalo, charmed. Who am I talking about?
Charm, the lucky charm.
Charm. Okay. Others, we didn't bring it up. I love it how Harun brought it up. But Harun, before we go ahead with the discussion regarding Sri Lanka versus Ireland. Please, what are your thoughts? And of course, the fact that you're the lucky charm, indeed. And of course, Sri Lanka's, victory. And what a match that was.
Yes, I'd say a morale boosting win, but I think there are many areas that the team has to really focus on. They could have pulled off a relatively more convincing win rather than how the match
Yes,
ended. Something with the
yes,
last 5 overs, I don't know, death overs is a big problem, especially with our current available resources. Um, Charmika not being in form is a bit of a worry, ideally because he's been bowling at the death in the previous tournaments. Does not seem to be confidence in Dasun to kind of give him the ball. Binura, I don't think can be that bowler who will bowl at the death. So whenever you get him on, you have to utilize him as early as possible. And in the batting, I thought the way we constructed the innings was fantastic. It took a similar approach that what Namibia did in that first game against us. Where we started relatively slow. Like I spoke about it on the day that morning itself. In terms of how we phased out because conditions are very different. The ground dimensions are very different. The fact that the more Kusal Mendy stayed there, he for him run scoring was that much more easy. So all in all, from a batting point of view, yes, pretty happy with what's happening at the top. I thought Asalanka played quite well. Good to see him back
yeah,
in form. Very positive.
yeah.
So that's a big bonus for Sri Lanka. Dhananjaya, unfortunate not to take that review, but then again, he's a live eye in the field. I think he single-handedly brought us back into that game with that very crucial run out of Pringle. So batting wise, I think as long as we can get those contributions from Dasun, Banuk, and Wanindu, I think we'll be that much more better. I think our spinners are doing a fantastic job. The only concern that's really worrying me is the fast bowling and how crucial it will become as we go into the Super 12.
Right. Before we get ahead in our discussion, want to remind our viewers that we have a giveaway going on through Knockout Sri Lanka. This show, as you may or may not know, is powered by DDAT. ඉතින් අපේ බලන viewers ලට මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ අකිල් ඔයාට DDAT එකෙන් මොනවා හරි දෙනා ගන්න ඕන නම් හරි ඔයා මෙච්චරයි කරන්න ඕනේ. Harun, if you want to win something from DDAT, actually a 3,000 rupee voucher, in fact. Uh, Sudhir that is actually gifting away five 3,000 rupee vouchers. So that will be five winners that will be announced on the 24th of this month. So all you have to do is answer the question on the Knockout Sri Lanka page. Tag three of your friends. Akil, do you have three friends that you can tag?
Two of you are already here.
Akib inna, Akib inna, Harun inna, Mang inna. Api tundara tag karanna. And share the post on your stories if you're on Instagram, but if you're on Facebook, just share the post on your profile and just hope that you would win. So, like I said, DDAT is giving away five 3,000 rupee vouchers. So, good luck to our viewers. And with that said, let's get on with the discussion.
හරුන්
Harun, let's talk a little bit.
මැච් එක ගැන කතා කරද්දී අපි
Yeah.
බැලුවා කුසල් මෙන්ඩිස් මැච් එකෙන් පස්සේ කියලා තිබ්බා එයා ඉනිංස් එක කන්ස්ට්‍රක්ට් කරා කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ෆස්ට් 10 overs වල බෑඩ් බෝල්ස් ටික විතරක් එළියට දාලා අනිත් බෝල්ස් ටික ඒක එයා පොඩ්ඩක් වොච්ෆුල් විදිහට සෙල්ලම් කරලා අන්තිම overs 10 අපි ලකුණු 100ක් විතර ගත්තා. ඒකද දැන් මේ පිච් වල බැට් කරන විදිය.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ජීලොන් ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ විතරයි අකිල්. මම හිතන්නේ ඔක හැම ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකටම ඇප්ලයි වෙනවා කියලා. අද අපි දැන් හෝබාට් ක්‍රිකට් එක ගත්තොත් බැටිං වලට ගොඩක් කන්ඩියුසිව්. එතන මේ වගේ ඩයිමෙන්ෂන්ස් ඉෂුස් නැහැනේ. I think level can distance එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ from the center. and ඒ පිචර්ස් ගත්තම මේ මට මතකද දන්න අර ඉන්දියා ශ්‍රී ලංකා මැච් එකකුත් ගැහුවා. එයා ගොඩක් රන් ස්කෝර් කරන්න පුළුවන් පිච් එකක්. ඉතින් ජීලොන් වල ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ ඒක ෆුටි ස්ටේඩියම් එකක් ෆුට්බෝල් වලටම හදපු එකක් ඩයිමෙන්ෂන්ස් ගොඩක් වෙනස් මේ ස්ක්වයර් බවුන්ඩරිස් තමයි කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ෂෝට් ඉස්සරහට දාන ඒවා ගහන්න අමාරුයි ඒ වගේ ලොකු ලොකු චැලෙන්ජස් තිබ්බා මම කිව්වා අනිත් පොයින්ට් එක තමයි ටර්ෆ් ස්ට්‍රිප් එක ස්ට්‍රිප්ස් දෙකයි තියෙන්නේ එතකොට you don't get value for your shots අර ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකට හයියෙන් ගහන ටික ගොඩක් එරෙනවා ඉතින් ඒ වගේ පොඩි පොඩි ප්‍රශ්න තිබ්බා හැබැයි අපි මේන් දැන් ගෲප් ස්ටේජ් එකේ ගහන ග්‍රවුන්ඩ්ස් බැලුවොත් හෝබාට් MCG සිඩ්නි නියම ග්‍රවුන්ඩ්ස් මේ shots ගහන
Actually, Harun, how do you think Sri Lanka should approach playing at big grounds, and what are the conditions do you think Sri Lanka could expect at the Hobart grounds?
Hobart, it's going to be very tricky because I think everyone's aware of the fact that Ireland have played all their matches thus far in Hobart. So they are a team that really knows the conditions at the grounds which will be the match where it's going to be played tomorrow. Sri Lanka will have to be a bit mindful because they are adjusting to conditions. Geelong to Hobart, it's a bit
Yes.
very overcast. But I think some of the matches it rained, so it's going to be very tricky. I think what really we have to focus on is our pace bowling. Fast bowlers, if they can hit those right lines and length, we should be able to give Ireland a good fight. I'm sure the spinners will do their job. Sometimes it gets me thinking whether we should bring in our third spinner also into the equation because that's our strength. Dhananjaya has been pretty silent, because maybe that's an exponent that we should really try and bring out as a surprise. If we
But let's talk.
are finding it difficult to get Charmika bowling.
Right, but let's talk a little bit about the boundaries and Sri Lanka's ability to play a few boundaries because I understand the Hobart ground is quite big in comparison to the Geelong ground, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you think Sri Lanka will manage that?
But in the contrary, I think the straighter boundaries are relatively shorter because if you took the Geelong
Okay.
grounds, the straighter boundaries were very long. It was 84, 85 meters plus. So it was nearly impossible to kind of clear the ground straight away. On the square, it was pretty much 50 to 60 meters, which is pretty much the same at Hobart as well. It's
Okay.
the straight boundaries which are kind of getting shorter. So, you'll have to be mindful when you bowl the ball fuller because it will be relatively easier for the batsman to go straight on. Plus, it will be good for our batsmen as well. Players like Banuka, Dasun, they like to hit the ball straight. So it's going to be good for them as well. Like I said, the concern is it'll all depend on how good our fast bowlers kind of utilize the conditions. Charmika really has to, come into the game for us to really have an impact early on.
ඒකත් තමයි
Uh,
දෙබකන් හරුන් අපේ මේන් බැස්ම කෙනෙක් හිට නෑ හට මච්චක යාව රෙස් කරලා තිනවා වයිටල් ගේම්ස් ටිකක් තියෙන හිද අපි අවට රිස් කරන්න ඇගලි ගන්න පුළුව එතැන් පැතුම් නිසංක ට20 සල දැන් නම්බ 10 ඇතුළද ඉන්නවා රෑකින් සල දැන් එයාගේ ඇබ්සන්ස එකින් ලංකාව ඕපනිං කොම්බිනේෂන එක පොඩ්ඩක් අපිට අතදා බලන්න වෙයි එකනේ දරජ ඩිසිල්ල සමාර්කට ඕපන් කරන චාන්සස් තින සෝෂල් මිඩියවල් එක තරිතස් ලංක වුණ ට්‍රයි කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ඒ වගේ හිතන හරු නැත්තම් වනින්දු හරි චාමිකාරි කවට දාලා ඕපනින් කොම්බිනේෂන් එකක් ටෙස්ට් කරයි කියලා
මේ වගේ කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වල
Vanindo.
වනින්දු චාමික මම හිතන්නේ ඒක නෙමේ හරිම ඔප්ෂන් එක ideally Dhananjaya D'Silva තමයි ඔතන ගිහලා ඕපන් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඕපන් කරලා තිනවා මම හිතන්නේ ඩොමෙස්ටික් ක්‍රිකට් වලත් එයා T20s වල ඕපන් කරනවා and මේ වගේ conditions වල හොබට් වල overcast පොඩ්ඩක් swing එක තියෙන හින්දා එයා වගේ batsman කෙනෙක් තමයි ideally ඒක 1-to-1 replacement එකක් ගත්තත් Dhananjaya and Pathum have a similar strike rate අතින් ගත්තොත් it's very similar so that's a no brainer චරිත් අසලංක number 3 එකට එන්න ඕනි එතනින් එහාට normal batting line up එක ඔතන කවුද එන්නේ කියලා තමයි මම හිතන්නේ question mark එක අපි
අශෙන්
ඔතනට
බණ්ඩාර
වැඩි
වගේ කෙනෙක්.
ඒක තමයි that is one option so you have another batsman that can come in or whether you play another bowler uh, a spinner ඒ options දෙකම තමයි තියෙන්නේ අපි results ටික බැලුවොත් then Ireland game එකේ very comfortably they chase the chasing team has pretty much done well at Hobart so Sri Lanka will be mindful of that that is Sri Lanka's strength as well so I feel that if they win the toss they would want to bowl first and chase a target
අයර්ලන්ඩ් වගේ ටීම් එකේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාව හිතන්නේ නැද්ද තව ස්පින් වලින් එකලම පොඩ්ඩක් පස්සට එකලගේ බැක් ෆුට් යවන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. අපි දැක්ක ඒ පෝල් ස්ටර්ලින් වෙස්ට් ඉන්ඩීස් එක වෙස්ට් ඉන්ඩීස් ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස්ලා ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ හැම පැත්තටම ගහනවා.
correct the Ireland leg spinner ගොඩක් හොඳට බෝල් කරා මම හිතන්නේ 2 or 3 wickets ගත්තා ඉතින් ඒ මට only තියෙන concern එක තමයි කියන්නේ ටීම් එකේ confidence ඒ කියන්නේ ටීම් එකට confidence තියනවාද එක්ක ප්‍රවීන් හරි ජෙෆ්රි වැන්ඩිසේව يعني ගස්සන් ඒකලොන් හොඳට ප්‍රැක්ටිස් වල බෝල් කරනවාද ඒ view එක අපිට නෑ ඉතින් it's only the team that knows how good they are doing and based on that only they can probably take that decision
ඉතින් ඒත් එක්කම සාජිද් නස්මි කියන කසුන් රාජිත ඕවර් ලහිරු කුමාරද කියලා හරුන් මොකද හිතන්නේ
I don't think so මම හිතන්නේ ඒ move එක කරන්න ඕන කියලා කසුන් රාජිත දැන් තමයි ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවට ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ මේ කියන්නේ තම match practice නැතුව එකපාරට මේ වගේ කියන්නේ I would say important
Crucial
game
game
because
එකක්.
it's very important to get that win on the board. Super 12 එකට ආම first win එක අරගෙන points දාගත්තම pressure එක අඩු වෙනවා. දැන් අද තේරෙන ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාව ලොකු pressure එකක් වැටලා තියෙනවා with the -4 net run rate. So for them to come back to win this tournament it's a huge uphill task. So
ඒ
මේ
ප්‍රෙෂර්
වගේ
එක
match එකක
මාගයි දැන්.
මොකද ලහිරු කුමාර මේ වැඩි ඒ කියන්නේ නරකටම බෝල් කරෙත් නෑ එදා match එකේ. එයාගේ last over එකෙත් ලකුණු 5යි නැත්නම් 6යි දුන්නේ. හොඳටම බෝල් කරා. අර එයා අර consistently ඒ line and length එක ගහන්න පුළුවන් නම් මේ වගේ wickets වල he'll be a very threatening force.
ඒ ප්‍රෙෂර් එක
I mean,
අපිත් එක පිළිමාගයි දන්නේ නැහැ නේ. ඒ ප්‍රෙෂර් එක
Sorry?
දැන් අද මැච් එකේ පෙරදුන එක අපිත් එක පිළිමාගයි දන්නේ නැහැ නේ.
Hope not කියලා බලේ අපි හිතමුනේ.
මේ අපි ලහිරු කුමාර ගැන කතා කරනවා shall we talk about Mahesh Dixon a little bit what happened there he kept
I don't know
mean
maybe that penultimate over I suppose the first ball it would have slipped but then again what
yeah
he tried to do was right so he understood that he was targeting that the white line outside the off stump he just off the radar but then again I thought he bowled brilliantly because he was one of the best in that Netherlands game it's just that last over where he couldn't finish off well
true
maybe the change in
true
ends also kind of impacted him because he was bowling from the other end where he was more comfortable with but then again, maybe just a bad one over. That's about it. But I think he's bowling fine. He and Manindo Hasaranga, I don't see anything wrong with it.
there's an interesting question Sajid Nasbi is posing Banuka to open and Asalanka at 5
Looking at Banuka's role, because he's spoken quite a bit on media as well in terms of what the team wants him to do. So he's been now considered as this person who is holding the middle order. So
right
if that is his role, then I doubt that they might push him up to open. If they want to try something different, yes, Banuk has opened in the past. He is someone who likes the ball coming onto the bat. That's another option that they can. But whether they can have that same caliber person to bat in the middle and really take control of the game and also hit the big shots, that's the question mark. So who do you bring into that middle order? So
එයා
I
ස්කූල්
doubt that
ශ්‍රී
they
ලංකා
might
යන
do that
කාලෙත්
change.
එයා ස්කූල් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මම හිතන්නේ අපි ඔයාලට තමයි බැට් කරේ නේද හරුන්.
Number 3, yeah. So school ගහනකොට number 3 or number 4, it depends. So it was either Kusal number 3, Banuka number 4, or Banuka number 3, Kusal number.
Kusal gana kata karama I'm actually referring to a question that was asked in our previous live and that is yesterday हुए will Kusal Mendy's fire killer. But obviously, if the last game is any evidence of that, he definitely did. But Harun, in addition to Kusal Mendes, who else do you think we could expect to fire some runs and some boundaries at tomorrow's game?
We badly need Dasun and Banuka to kind of
Mm,
fire. I think both of them were batting well. I think the fact that those two are very much, their game is more towards hitting the ball straight. Geelong was not the right ground to be, trying that, because whenever they hit the ball, you see they always got caught at long off and long on. But coming into the group stages, having even sized grounds, like you take Perth for example, it's very short straight. Straight boundaries are just 60 meters. So looking at that, I think these guys will come in good, but these two will definitely have to fire. Probably valuable contributions from Makalanka and Dhananjay also can add that much more cushion to our batting.
Folks, another
I
low
think
scoring three on your way. England has 32 to win out of 37 loss and 4 wickets down.
Yeah.
wow,
So Afghanistan is giving a good fight.
good fight, yeah. I think our Prashna Kahana Sajid Nazmi. Do we bring in another batter to replace Khatum or a bowler? But I think Harun, you've shared your thoughts on that as well. But to reiterate, how would you, sum up an answer for that question?
Yeah, my personal view is to play an extra bowler,
Hmm,
considering that we are struggling to get the 4 overs from Charmika. That's my worry. And in
yeah,
conditions where we have not got used to in Hobart, batting seems to be somewhat intact. You would want to see the batsman fire, because we anyways have batting up to number 7 with Vanidu. Vanidu has been looked very reckless and careless once again, but if he comes good, then you can afford to play with the existing batsman and play an extra bowler to add that much more pressure to the Irish.
that's right.
A
That's right.
spinner,
I,
ideally a spinner. Yes.
චාමික ගැන කතා කරද්දි චාමික කියන්නේ ප්‍රොපර් මැච් විනර් කෙනෙක්. එයා ටීම් එකේ ඉන්න එකත් හොඳයි කියලා හිතනවානේ. එයා 11 එකේ ඉන්න එකත් එයා සෙල්ල එයා ෆීල්ඩ් එකේ එන පොසිටිව් එනර්ජි එක අරන්.
Oh yes, of course. ඒක ඒ ෆැක්ට් එක ඇත්ත. හැබැයි අකිල් අන්තිමට runs and wickets නේ මේ කතා කරන්නේ. ඔයාගේ performance එක ගැන. I completely agree that he's a live wire in the field. That's very important. But අර
Mhm,
batting සහ bowling contribution එක එන්නේ නැත්නම් team එකට ගොඩක් impact එකක් වෙනවා. දැන් මේ දවස්වල දැන් ගිය match එක හොඳම example එක. මේ දසුන්ට අන්තිමට බිනුරට යන්න වුණා because එයාට confidence තිබ්බේ නෑ චාමිකට බෝලේ දෙන්න. දැන් ඒෂියා කප් එකේ එහෙම නෙමෙයි. චාමික was always bowling the death overs. එයාට ලොකු confidence එකක් තිබ්බා චාමිකට බෝලේ දෙන්න. I think that is where we are actually struggling. ඒකයි අපිට අන්තිම overs 5 ගොඩක් runs leak වෙන්නේ මේ දවස්වල.
ඉතින් ඒත් එක මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ හෙට අයර්ලන්ඩ් ගේම් එක හින්දා මම ඇත්තටම ඉන්නේ Irish band grill එකේ in Colombo. So just want to encourage audience to come and check it out. The ambience is lovely and we have a famous cricketer actually downstairs as we speak. To flood the place if you want to. Niroshan Dikmal is downstairs. ඒකත් කියන්න ඕනේ.
නිකන්
Ah,
Imra, Imraz Faris Ahana, why isn't DDS bowling? He's usually handy with the ball, killer.
yeah, I think I just made mention of that as well. Especially,
Yeah.
he's got this magic touch to always break through partnerships, and it's an
Mhm.
option I feel Dasun should explore, especially
Yes.
with teams like Ireland who are less conducive against playing spin. They are up for the task when it comes to playing against good fast bowling. We saw that yesterday as well. The way they chased, they took Alzari, Joseph, and all their fast bowlers to the cleaners. But I think that
Yeah.
boy Hakim was, I think, relatively more potent. So spin can come into our favor tomorrow if we really bowl well and put the brakes on the Irish batting.
I think Harun then speaking more about the bowling department. දැන් මේ දවස් ටිකේ මයිල්ස් කියලා කතාවක් කියනවනේ online ගොඩක් මම දන්නේ කට්ටිය අහලාද කියලා but I've heard that Minura and Kumara don't have enough miles. So what is your opinion on it? What do you think? How do we?
Shall I
So
repeat what Russell
you're
said?
referring to the distance miles, right?
Shall I
Not
repeat
the
what
number
Russell
format miles.
said?
I think that was
What was
the
the
miscommunication.
uh, Akim Mukadda?
Shall I repeat what Russell said?
What did Russell say?
A mile? What a mile?
Running miles, running miles.
No, so that's quite crucial. I think that's one of the reasons
Mm,
I don't advocate playing Kasun Rajita as well straight away tomorrow,
mm.
because you'll have to clock in the miles, especially at the nets, keep bowling because conditions are different. It's very early. It's actually not summer in the first place. What I'm told is it's spring, late spring. So conditions are totally different if you're traveling from Sri Lanka to Australia. So you might as well play the
Get
with
adjusted.
the
Yeah.
yeah, so basically with the team that or with your bowlers who has had that exposure over the last 3 weeks staying in Australia.
Mm, correct. So
අපි
we have
දැක්ක අපේ
Mansur
බිඳුර
Rahim.
හොඳට බෝල් කරා. එයාගේ නකල් බෝල් එකෙන් හොඳට වැඩ කරා. එදා මැච් එකේ ලූස් බෝල් ටිකක් ගියා. බිඳුර යට අපේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස් දෙන්නට එක මැච් එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊළඟ රිදම් එකට එන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ දෙන්න ගොඩක් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ නෑ ළඟදී.
Correct.
ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් මැච් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ තිබ්බේ නෑ. අපි දැක්ක ලහිර් කුමාර
Raghav Rambo and Lahir Kumar.
ලහිර් කුමාර අන්තිම මොනේ පොඩ කල්පනා කරලා දැම්මා. එයා ගිය අවුරුද්දේ කර මිස්ටේක් එක රිපීට් කරේ නෑ මේ පාර.
Correct. එයා අනිතික ලහිරු කුමාරගේ දැන් රන් අප් and rhythm එක දැක්කම බැලුවම තේරෙනවා යාර කියන්නේ වැඩි overly express දාන්න යන්න හදන්නේ. එයා ගොඩක් line and length එකත් focus කරනවා. එයාට naturally pace එක තියෙනවා. එයාගේ strength එකයි build එක අනුව natural pace එක එනවා. අර එයා සමහර වෙලට runs වලට යන්නේ එයා ගොඩක් high in දාන්න ගියා. මේ වගේ conditions වල if you can get අර just outside the off stump within the corridor just short of a length, it will be ideal in these wickets. And මගේ මේ කියන්නේ theory එක තමයි බිනුරව ගස්සනවා නම් එයාගේ overs වැඩිපුර මුල් first half එකේදී ගන්න වෙනවා. At least 3 overs within the first 10 should be completed, and maybe in the second half එකේ before the 15th over you complete his 4 over quota. I think that's where he will be useful.
අනිත් එක තමයි අපි දැක්ක ඉංගලන්ඩ් අයර්ලන්ඩ් ටීම් එක ගැන කතා කරද්දී ඒගොල්ලෝ පෝල් ස්ටර්ලින් කියන්නේ මගේ ලෝකේ හැම ලීග් එකම සෙල්ලම් කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ෆස්ට් පවර් ප්ලේ එක වෙලාවේ එයා බෝලර්ස්ලා කෙලින්ම ක්ලීනර්ස් වලට ගන්නවා කියන්න පුළුවන්. අනිත් එක ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ බෝලිං ලයින් අප් එක එකේ හොඳ වැරයිටි එකක් තියෙනවා. ආරුන් අපි ඒ වගේ බැට්ස්මන් කෙනෙක් ස්පෙෂලි වෙනවා ප්ලෑන්ස් දාන්න ඕනේ නැත්නම් අපි කෙලින්ම අපේ ගේම් ප්ලෑන් එක ස්ටික් වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා.
Paul Sterling කියන batsman as you said ගොඩක් කියන experience player කෙනෙක් මේ වගේ හොඳ wickets වල runs ගහලා මේ ගහන්න පුළුවන් එක්කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් ඒකට මම හිතන්නේ එයාගේ batsman කෙනෙක්ට අනිවාර්යෙන් specific plans ඇති. ඉතින් එයා වගේ player කෙනෙක්ට ඔය short ball එහෙම දාන්න ගියාම ගොඩක් risk එක වැඩි because he plays the pull shot very well. and ඒ අපේ ලංකාවේ කියන්නේ කට්ටියගේ pace එක ගත්තොත් it's nothing. so මෙයාගේ ප්ලේ කෙනෙක්ට තමයි මම හිතන්නේ හසරංගලා තීක්ෂණ ලැබිලා මොන හරි මිස්ට්‍රි ස්පිනර් කෙනෙක් වගේ ඇවිල්ලා මේ අපිට මොන හරි මේ කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
ඩොට් බෝල් ප්‍රෙෂර්
correct.
ඩොට් බෝල් ප්‍රෙෂර් දෙන්නොත් ඒක නම් easily විකට් එක දීලා යන chances තියෙනවා.
correct.
අනිත් එක අපේ group එක ගැන කතා කරද්දී අපේ group එක අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන group එක නෙවෙයි අපි අන්තිමට end up වුනේ.
කවුරුත් හිතුවේවත් නෑ මේ UAE නැමීබියා වලට ගහයි කියලා. ගොඩක් කට්ටිය හිතුවේ it was just a dead rubber where Namibia will pull it through, but ඒකයි මේ ටෝර්නමන්ට් එක ගොඩක් වෙනස්. අද මැච් එක ගත්තත් අකිල් දැන් නිව්සීලන්ඩ් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියා මැච් එක කවුරුත් හිතුවේ නෑ නිව්සීලන්ඩ් මේ වගේ මාජින් එකකින් දිනයි කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ෆේවරිට්ස්ලා හිටියේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියා because they are reigning champions home ground වල ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි හොඳටම කරන්න කට්ටිය එක්ස්පෙක්ට් කළා හිටියේ. හැබැයි අන්තිමට ටේබල්ස් අනිත් පැත්තටම කැරකුණානේ. අර ෆින් ඇලන්ගේ ස්ටාර්ට් එකෙන් එමම නිකන් මේ it just to blew them away.
ලෝකේ ඉන්න හොඳම බෝලර්ස්ලා තුන් දෙනාට ඇටැක් කරේ.
correct. අන්තික මේ ටෝර්නමන්ට් එක අකිල් මේ කියන්නේ වෙනස්ම ටෝර්නමන්ට් එකක් වෙයි. මෙතන ෆේවරිට්ස්ලා නෑ. එදා දවසේ ගහන හොඳම ටීම් එක තමයි දිනන්නේ. ඒක කන්සිස්ටන්ට්ලි රිපීට් කරන්න පුළුවන් ටීම් එක තමයි මේ ටෝර්නමන්ට් එක දිනන්නේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා හරි ඒෂියා කප් එක ගත්තොත් කන්සිස්ටන්ට්ලි හැම මැච් එකම හොඳට ගැව්වා after that first match. එතන එක මැච් එකක් ඒගොල්ලෝ හරියට ගහලා තිබ්බේ නැත්තම් එළියනේ. So it will depend on playing the best cricket on that day and being consistent in the next few games. One off day
Rebecca,
can really hit you.
Rebecca, දැන් හරිද කනෙක්ෂන් ඉෂුව එකක් තිබිලා වගේ.
No, no, I kept getting a call. I think, may sorry about that. I'm on data.
එතකොට
But
go on.
now Harun can make I think my concluding question එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් but question මේක අහන්න ඕනේ. Sorry to put you on the spot. Nathan, do I leave it to the end and take Manziel's question instead? Did we take Manziel's question or no?
I think you haven't taken
We
this
didn't,
question.
no?
No, we didn't.
Hari. Okay, so he says, I think we need to bring Vandese, replace Binura. Ireland is batting well. We need to bowl well. Asia, Ashan,
That's Asalanka, it should be.
sorry, Asalanka can bat middle order. Dasan and Shamika need to bowl well. Binura is not bowling well. So it's really, so Manzil is really, really convinced that Binura is just not performing well enough. But Harun, what are your comments on this?
Uh, in my point of view, I think having that left arm fast bowler, his height, he with the new ball, he's very he looks quite penetrative. He did bowl well against Netherlands. The fact that Pathum is not going to play, you can easily slot in another spinner and bring Van de Sar whilst playing Binura as well. That's the option that we were just talking about. But yeah, I think if you take the Irish team also, they have Josh Little, who is bowling very well, and he's one of their best bowlers. So taking that into consideration in these conditions, I'd go with Binura and give him another chance.
And before we ask the last question, Rebecca, there's another big game tomorrow. As usual, most hype game can pull cricket. India versus Pakistan.
Anivaram.
Amunaitan
That's going to be a cracker at MCG. I think both teams. If you take India, not with their best 11, just with Bumrah, probably the best T20 bowler is not with the Indian team, but still without him, they are a very very tough team to beat in ICC tournaments. Pakistan will take that confidence from the Asia Cup and come into the tournament. Considering that India is relatively more experienced in winning matches in Australia, I'll go with India as the favourites to win tomorrow's match against Pakistan.
and it will be good to see Shine Shah, Haris Rauf, and Hasnain and bowling
Nazim Shah,
together.
no?
Nasim Shah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, bowling together. It will be a big battle between Kohli and the Pakistan bowlers. Kohli, Sharma, KL
Yeah.
Rahul.
It's going to be a fantastic game to watch.
Definitely. I think so. Harun, when Harun puts his money on India, I think you know where I'm going with this question. But Harun, my concluding question to you is: who's your money on tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I'd always go with Sri Lanka tomorrow, considering
Okay.
they've been playing decent cricket. Like I said, the only worry is the death overs, how we kind of close an innings. That's been an issue. In terms of batting, if we follow that same approach, take our time at the first 10, assess the conditions and the ground dimensions very importantly. And if we bat first and get to about 150, 160, I think that's always defendable in our standards. But looking at how things have gone and Hobart, I feel if we can put them in, keep them into a decent score, maybe 135, 140, and chase, we are in it for a good chance.
So you mean to say, even though Ireland kind of has the upper hand in terms of understanding the playing conditions, especially where Hobart is concerned, you still think that Sri Lanka does have a better chance tomorrow?
Yes, yes. So because you're right in terms of Ireland playing all their games there, but still the fact that Sri Lanka's dominance over Ireland in international cricket in ICC tournaments has been that quite strong. Even during the last World Cup in UAE, being 8 for 3, or we were three down for next to nothing with one in those
Mm,
performance, we
mm.
really managed to claw ourselves back in. So basically, that confidence levels, playing sometimes when you play certain opponents, that you have enough strength to overpower the other opposition. It's not that you're putting them down, but you know your strength that is within your capacity in terms of matchup. So I'm just going with basically the confidence with the team. Like you said, yes, the conditions will be favorable to Ireland purely on the fact that they have played three of their matches there. But having said that, these guys are professional cricketers. They'll adjust. I'm assuming they'll adjust quite quickly. And
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, Sri Lanka will pull it through tomorrow.
Okay, one more before we finish. Both of y'all, you're
Sure.
man of the match for tomorrow.
Oh,
Man of the match. My God, we'll have to be soothsayers to answer this, no, man.
Harun, please. You have a reputation now, so whatever you say goes. So
Oh, it's tough one. Very, very tough one.
tap
I
into
don't
the
know.
lucky charm. Tap into the source of your lucky charm and give us the answer.
Right. So if we are to win, we'll have a good. What my gut says is there'll be a good bowling performance and
Mm.
probably a decent contribution with the bats. I'm assuming Vanindu Hasarang. I don't know. Something just tells me it's
One
going to be Vanindu.
one leg spinner always supports another. You would expect that.
But to be honest, from my layman point of view, I was also going to go with Vanidu. But Akhil, okay, what is your take?
Because you all said Vanindu, I'll go with another, no? I'll go with Kusal Mendes.
Ah,
Yeah,
interesting.
so
Okay.
it can be a brilliant batting knock that wins us the game, or a brilliant all
Mhm.
round performance where someone takes about 3 4 wickets and either only 3 4 wickets or 3 4 wickets and a few runs. That's the only way we can
Mm.
get a man of the match award.
Correct, correct. With that said, ඉතින් අපේ viewers ලට තව සැරයක් මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ giveaway එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් DDAT එකේ දැන් යන giveaway එක knockout page එකේ DDAT is giving away 3,000 rupee vouchers. So all you have to do is answer the question on the Knockout Sri Lanka page, find them on Facebook or on Instagram, and tag three of your friends in the comments. Share the post on your story. If you're on Instagram, share the post on your story. But if you're on Facebook, share the post on your profile. And just hope that you win because on the 24th, they will be announcing the winners. So, with that said, we want to thank our audience for watching. It's right now, Akile. Do you have any more questions? Munahari ape lucky charm ging munahari ahanda tiyena de hit a local
අපි
game එක
අපි
කලින්.
ලකි චාම්බ සේව කරගමු ඉම්පෝර්ටන්ට් ගේම්ස් වලට ඒ නිසා දැන් ඒව අතරින් අපි
Ah, right, right, right.
Aye,
Hari,
aye, aye.
thank you, Kianune, our audience. Thanks. Thank you for your questions. Please keep them coming in. But definitely a huge thank you to Harun for, setting aside his time to take part in our live session. And of course, Akhil. Yeah, match එක බල බල කොහොම හරි අපේ live එකත් කරනවා මට පේනවා back he keeps looking back and still is taking part in the live, so thanks Akhil. And yeah, we'll as Harun said, let's sincerely hope that Sri Lanka comes out victorious tomorrow.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Harun.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on the show.
All right.
Have a good weekend, guys. Enjoy tomorrow's game.
You too. Have a good night.